The sun, usually a balm, felt like a judgment. It beat down on the cobbled streets of Rome, reflecting off the white tunics of the senators and the faded cloth of us common folk. But today, the heat wasn't what made my breath catch. It was the silence. Not the quiet of a midday nap, but the heavy, unnatural stillness that settles before a storm or after a scream has been stifled. My name is Livia. I sell olives in the Forum just like my mother and her mother before her. This morning my basket felt heavier than usual, each plump olive a tiny, dark eye staring up at me. The usual chatter of merchants was gone, replaced by hushed whispers and the rustle of parchment. Everyone was looking at the same thing, the Forum wall. It started yesterday. A list, posted by Sulla's men. At first, it was just names. Names of men we knew. Senators, equites, even a few wealthy merchants. Then, more names. And more. Each one a death sentence. Pronounced without trial, without appeal, and with it, a bounty. A handful of denarii for each head. For a Roman head. I saw a woman, her face pale beneath her veil, clutching her child so tightly the boy whimpered. She was staring at a name on the list, a name that must have been her husband's or her brother's. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. It was a silent shriek of despair. A guard, one of Sulla's grim-faced brutes, pushed past me, his leather armor creaking. He didn't even glance at my olives. No one was buying today. They were just looking, reading, their faces etched with a fear colder than any winter wind. My own hands trembled as I gripped the handle of my basket. Was anyone safe? Could a simple olive seller who knew nothing of politics or power be caught in this net? The thought was a poison seeping into my veins. The air itself felt thick with suspicion. Any glance could be a judgment, any whisper a denunciation. This was Rome, the heart of the world, and it was bleeding. Quietly, but surely bleeding. And all we could do was watch and pray our names wouldn't appear on that damned wall tomorrow. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Brandon. And welcome to the Time Travelers Club. Girl, you did good. I loved that. Oh, I lost track for a minute. I was just like, it was like listening to an audiobook. You gotta think about that. So just as an aside, sorry, I just wanted to give you credit for that. I was enamored. And I wrote it. I was like, whoa. Like, this is good. Oh, no. So, welcome back, guys. Last time we went to ancient Rome during the beginning of the death throes of its precious republic. We discussed how the Gracchi brothers tried to suppress and reform Rome, but failed. Then we saw Marcus try to suppress and reform Rome, but failed. And now Marius tried to suppress and reform Rome, and well, it's not going great. But do you think he and Sulla and friends, after realizing the obvious trend and where this was heading, are going to sit down, put aside their own personal ambitions, and try to work out a solution in a civilized manner that will do its best to benefit all Roman citizens?
Well, if the cold open wasn't a big enough hint, I think just based off of our own personal experiences, we can take an educated guess.
Oh, snap. So, of course, picking up where we left off, just as the social war limped to a close, a new threat emerged in the east, and he was called Mithridates VI of Pontus. He was an ambitious Hellenistic king from the shores of the Black Sea. He saw Rome's internal squabbles as his chance to massively expand into what is today Turkey and Anatolia. During this period, he massacred tens of thousands of Roman and Italian residents in the region. This is known as the Asiatic Vespers. The Senate gave the coveted command against Mithridates to Sulla, who was now consul and Rome's top military dog after his successes in the Social War. But Marius, old and desperate for one last glorious command, pulled a dirty trick. He was allied with a radical tribune named Publius Sulpicius Rufus. Rufus, we're calling him Rufus, who used a popular assembly to vote to strip Sulla of his command and transfer it to Marius. This was it. Sulla, with his loyal legions still under arms from the Social War, made a decision that irrevocably plunged Rome into civil war. Instead of obeying the Senate and the Assembly, he committed the ultimate sacrilege. He marched his army on Rome itself. This was an unthinkable violation of the Pomerium, the sacred boundary of the city where no armed general was allowed. His troops, loyal to him and only him, smelled blood. And that's the last time when we were talking about that. Remember what we said? The army stopped being loyal to Rome and started to become to individuals, right? And now we're starting to see this already. So they smelled blood and land and fought their way, that's helpful, and fought their way into the city. Marius and Rufus barely escaped, becoming declared public enemies. Sulla briefly seized control, enacted quick reforms to solidify senatorial power, and then believing he, quote, fixed things, departed for the east to fight Mithridates. Because again, like, you know, man, what an inconvenient time. You're like, you got, oh crap, almost civil war. And then you got this guy. Oh wait, that's right. He's over there still fucking us up. Damn. Go back.
No, and this is where the divide and conquer really got used against them. Sulla's departure left a gaping power vacuum, sort of like that toxic ex that we've all regrettably had. Marius, a man of incredible resilience, or sheer stubbornness, returned to Italy. He teamed up with Lucius Cornelius Cinna, one of the consuls who was a champion of the popular cause and against Sulla's conservative leanings. Together, Marius and Cinna raised an army, mostly of disgruntled Italians and Sulla's enemies, and marched on Rome a second time. They retook the city, and what followed was a brutal reign of terror. Thousands of Sulla's supporters, senators, and wealthy citizens were proscribed and murdered. Marius, by then an old man consumed by rage, was particularly ruthless. He achieved his dream of a seventh consulship in 86 BCE, but died just a few weeks later, reportedly from pleurisy or old age, finally giving Rome a break from his endless ambition. Cinna continued to rule as the dominant figure in Rome until his own death in 84 BCE. During this Marian-Cinnian regime, many of Gaius Gracchus's laws were reinstated. Wow, I could not say that word to save my life.
It was a lot of Latin all at once. It's
Gaius
okay. And it's a lot of names.
It just, woof! Including the popular grain dole and the full enfranchisement of the Italian citizens. Everyone in Rome knew, however, that this was just the calm before the storm. Sulla was coming back, and he wouldn't be in a forgiving mood. The takeaway? The social war nearly tore Italy apart. The Marius-Sulla rivalry tore Rome apart. Generals now openly used armies to seize the capital. The Roman political system was in freefall, fueled by reciprocal violence and a total disregard for constitutional norms. The republics, it was a corpse, a walking corpse. It's a freaking zombie.
Yeah.
So while the Marians and Cinnas were wreaking havoc in Rome, Sulla was busy being awesome from his perspective in the east. He ruthlessly crushed.
He crusted him.
He crushed him.
I don't know if I want to know what crusting someone looks like in ancient Rome. It sounds gross.
I have a list now. Oh my gosh.
I crusted him real bad.
But he crushed Mithridates, extracting a peace treaty in 85 BCE that allowed him to free up his veteran legions. He'd done his duty now. Now it was time for revenge. In 83 BCE, Sulla landed at Brundisium, a southern Italy with roughly 40,000 highly disciplined and battle-hardened veterans. This was it. The Second Civil War. Many Roman aristocrats who'd fled the Marian purges flocked to his banner, including two ambitious young hotheads who would dominate the next generation. Gnaeus Pompeius, Pompey the Great, and Marcus Licinius Crassus. The war raged across Italy, a brutal take-no-prisoners fight. The Marian forces, led by Marius' son, young Marius, and other commanders, put up a fierce resistance, but Sulla's legions were simply superior. The decisive battle, the Battle of Colline Gate in 82 BCE, was fought right outside the walls of Rome itself. It was a bloody, desperate affair against a large Marian army, bolstered by their Samnite allies who hated Rome. Sulla triumphed, finally securing absolute control.
And then they lived happily ever after. He was super nice. The end. Just kidding. With Rome at his feet, Sulla unleashed a wave of terror, unprecedented in Roman history, which is saying something because we just said that Marius also had an unprecedented reign of terror.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's getting better, guys. No,
it's escalation on escalation on escalation.
It's yeah. So he instituted our friend the prescriptions again. Yay! And this time, these were literally lists of names posted publicly in the forum. If your name was on this list, and I'm clapping as I do this, you were an enemy of the state. And anyone could kill you with impunity. Anyone can kill you. You have no rights.
This is pretty much being declared an outlaw. You are literally outside of the law.
But it's pettier. Because like with outlaw, it's like you did something wrong and then like maybe you fled. And then they're like, okay, all bets off. You don't want to be like, you don't want to go through a trial and shit? Cool. Outlaw. This is like, I don't like your face. Whoever brings him first, gets money. Go nuts. Like, there's like, you could literally just, it was like, oh, it was rumored you might like Marius. That was enough. That's it. It's scary, y'all. It's real scary. And if it sounds like eerily kind of familiar, maybe we should take a note. Like why this is bad news bears, okay? When you just take away the rights of people who you politically or morally or just in general dislike or like maybe don't agree with, why that's a problem to just strip those people of their rights. So your property was immediately confiscated and auctioned off for pennies on the dollar to Sulla loyalists. Crassus. Anyway, did I say that? Informers were rewarded, and sheltering a prescribed person meant instant death.
Woof.
Instant. Yay!
You're guilty by
God,
association.
it's like you knock on the door and like you didn't even know someone was on that list and they had just popped over for dinner. You open the door and it's like, oh, there he is. Cuts mom's head off right in front of the kids.
But she
That's
would
what I'm
never be
imagining.
answering the door to begin with. Like, let's be real.
That's
But
that's true. But like, yeah. Anyway, well, they're gonna kill her too.
yes, they
They're
will.
gonna kill the babies. They're gonna kill everybody. Everybody getting killed. Thousands died. Senators, equites, wealthy citizens, anyone vaguely suspected of Marian sympathies, or frankly, anyone whose wealth Sulla's cronies coveted. Crassus. It was a systematic purge, not just for the political revenge, but for mass wealth redistribution to fund his loyal armies and his reforms. The prescription spread widespread paranoia and fear. No one was safe. They were a chilling demonstration of absolute power. So, to legitimize said absolute power, Sulla had himself appointed dictator of the revision of the Constitution and laws. Dictator Republicae Constitutiae Pausa. That was a mouthful. He should have had a better PR guy. You know? Like,
I mean, calling himself a dictator, that's interesting.
I know, but like, like wrap it up. Call just, like Julius Caesar learned. He's like, just counsel for dictator. Just like keep it simple. It doesn't need to be a mile long. This wasn't the old temporary dictatorship, though. This was an indefinite appointment with a mission to fundamentally restructure the entire Roman state. Sulla, a rigid optimate, truly believed he was saving the Republic by turning back the clock to an idealized past where the Senate reigned supreme and the populist demagogues like Gracchi and Marius couldn't cause trouble. Make Rome great again. I mean, no, there's no correlation there. Like, don't read too much into that. His reforms were designed to ensure the Senate's supremacy. First, he expanded and strengthened the Senate. He increased the Senate's size from 300 to 600, filling it with, which maybe on paper you'd be like, oh, well, that's good, guys. Brandon, Courtney, like, that's great. There's more people involved, right? Right? Sure. And they're all loyal to him because he's filling it with his own loyal followers, including many equites he elevated. So people who owe him their careers. He also made the quaestorship, the lowest rung of the political ladder, automatically grant Senate membership, creating a steady stream of new senators. So like on some of it, it's like, okay, well, maybe that's good. But yeah, it's still also meant to kind of continue to stratify and divide people, right? And who owe their shit to him. Next up was the crippling of the tribunes and the plebs. There's the other part. This was his personal passion project. He probably had a vision board and everything. He stripped the tribunes of their power to propose legislation without prior senatorial approval, removed their veto power over legislation, and most damagingly, made it illegal for anyone who served as tribune to hold any other major magistrate. That was meant to deter ambitious young men from seeking the office altogether. He also took time to meticulously define the minimum ages and sequence for holding these magistracies, aiming to prevent individuals from accumulating power too quickly or bypassing traditional routes. Make sure old men stay in power.
Yep.
No new ideas, no new thoughts.
Never.
No. So, but wait, there's more. Then he established a comprehensive system of permanent criminal courts, which on first glance sounds okay, right? We don't want just like, oh, we're getting a kangaroo court together because something crazy happened. Like, okay, seems fine.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. It was staffed exclusively by senators, which we have just established
We're
were loyal to
loyalists.
him.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Does this sound familiar, guys?
Un poquito.
And their job was to handle various crimes, reinforce it, and to reinforce senatorial control over justice. I'm sure that'll go fine. And as the coup de grace, he settled his massive army of loyal veterans on the confiscated lands throughout Italy, creating communities fiercely loyal to him, gerrymandering. Like a
Mm-hmm.
weird gerrymandering. It's like literally taking entire groups of people loyal to you and plopping them in areas that like they can potentially break up, areas not loyal to you. It's really wild, like rigging
Mm-hmm.
of the system. This was crucial for his power base, but also created generations of resentment among those dispossessed, which I wonder why.
Absolutely. Then, after all that bloodshed, all that restructuring, Sulla did something truly astonishing. In 79 BCE, he voluntarily abdicated his dictatorship and retired to his country estate in Campania. He believed he had
Mar-a-Lago.
completed his mission. Heard that. Restored order and set Rome on the right path. He died peacefully the following year in 78 BCE.
Oh, that's nice.
Totally.
God, don't you love that? God.
No, I
Oh,
don't. Not at all. Not at all.
oh,
So
this happens a lot.
it does. Sulla was
Anyway.
arguably the most significant figure between the Gracchi and Caesar. His actions sealed the Republic's fate, even though he aimed to save it. Sulla's unequivocally demonstrated that military power trumped law and tradition. He taught every ambitious Roman general that if you had a loyal army, you could take Rome by force, purge your enemies, and reshape the state to your will. But
Hmm.
ultimately, his reforms were a spectacular failure. He tried to force Rome back into an idealized past that no longer existed. This sounds so familiar. Make Rome what again? It's on the tip of my tongue.
Hmm.
Essentially, he treated symptoms, populist tribunes, rather than the disease. Social inequality, insatiable ambition, and professional army loyal to his generals.
There's really something about this that's ringing a bell, and it's driving me crazy, girl.
Oh, I imagine it is.
What
So,
is it?
you know what? I just, maybe if I had a mirror, I could see it. So, probably not too shocking. The prescriptions created deep-seated hatred and a thirst for revenge that would fuel future civil wars. His weakening of the tribunate actually backfired, creating popular demand for its restoration, which eventually happened. Most importantly, his two young lieutenants, Pompey and Crassus, had just witnessed a masterclass in acquiring and wielding absolute power. The next generation of Roman strongmen would learn his lessons well.
Hmm. So, Sulla was gone, but the ghost of his actions lingered. The Senate, supposedly strengthened, was still largely weak, divided, and notoriously bad at managing the vast empire, which is crazy. It's almost like this was we're back to square one.
Yep.
Huh. From
Fighting for
like
no
50,
reason.
Well, it's like from 50 years ago. Wasn't that the problem?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Odd. Must be a coincidence. So they tried to go back to quote-unquote normal, but everyone knew normal was dead. The political arena was no longer just the forum. It was now the battlefield, and the most powerful men were the ones with the most loyal legions. Enter Pompey the Great, a.k.a. the teenage fuckboy general and serial pirate killer. Remember Pompeius? He was that kid who basically raised his own army to join Sulla. You know, nothing too hard. After Sulla's death, Pompey wasted no time in flexing his apparently rippling, rock-hard military muscles. He earned the name Magnus, the Great Men, from Sulla himself, and consistently bypassed the normal career path, thanks to his military genius. Also because Sulla had set the precedent. Let's make sure to remember that. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he wasn't brilliant. I'm also saying that it was made easier. So, it's easy to go through a wall if someone came in before with a wrecking ball to it. So,
Kool-Aid Man. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, for this, he got a special command to put down the persistent Marian rebellion in Spain. Yes, all those people that were loyal to Marius, they're still kicking, apparently. Yeah, it was a raving success that they put it down, but whatever. But they're all in Spain now. Well, what, Spain now? And they are led by a guy whose name is Sertorius, around 77 BC. Then he returned to Italy just in time to claim credit for finishing off this little revolt. You may have heard this name before. Spartacus? I know it's a little obscure figure, but yeah. So he finished off the Spartacus revolt. It was a massive slave revolt from 73 to 71 BCE, where mean old crooked-ass Crassus had done all the heavy lifting, which, while rude, I feel like I really wasn't rooting for him either. You know?
Nope.
He's like the landlord from hell. You know, like he's not a good guy. He's like the
Slumlord from hell.
Burgermeister. You know?
Slumlord from hell, certainly.
Slumlord from hell. He's the Burgermeister from the Christmas movie, No One Likes You. Mm-hmm. And he wonders why no one likes him. But we'll get to him some other time. For now, this is the same guy who, after defeating the slave army, this is Crassus, guys. So after he put them down, he, brace yourselves, crucified all the survivors down the road on his way back to Rome. To paint you a pretty picture, if you're looking at the boot of Italy, right? Rome is, we'll say, roughly like kind of in the middle, sort of, you know. This revolt took place like towards the like the sole of the boot. Mm-hmm. That distance of road. Just like imagine being on the highway, and you have instead of highway markers, you have crucified guys to mark your milestone.
How apocalyptic!
Like, how far are we down the road? Oh, well, we passed the Screaming Ginger a while back, and now we're at the Brunette. So take a left here. Right there.
Did we already pass the blonde? Shoot. Double back. We gone too far.
Oh, damn it. We went too far. Oh. But anyway. No, that blonde was screaming. This one's not. Anyway. Oh, my God. So no one's a good guy here, guys. No one's good here. Don't root for any of them. They're bad people. So, like that. So this, of course, sparked a lifelong competitive rivalry between Pompey and Crassus. However, his true rise to unparalleled power came with two extraordinary commands. The first was the Lex Gabinia in 67 BCE. This gave him unprecedented. I feel like we say this a lot. This gave this particular person unprecedented power. Everything's unprecedented. Gave him unprecedented power, again, to wipe out the rampant piracy in the Mediterranean that was strangling Rome's grain supply. Now, this is not a bad thing, though, I suppose. The pirates were bad. People were starving because of these pirates. Okay, fair enough. They're not cool. They're not Orlando Bloom and Johnny Depp pirates. They are missing. They're like the ones that are missing their teeth in the like the bad guy pirates. No one likes them. And he did it in 3 months. 3 months, and that's it. He took care of the whole problem. This has been a problem that had been plaguing these people for decades, and then within 3 months, he took care of it. Done.
Imagine
That's
that,
astonishing.
though. That is impressive, considering
That is
how
impressive.
large the trade routes would be, how much these boats would be carrying to be able to solve the problem in 3 months. Jeez.
Yeah.
Please.
Specifically, that was like that whole Adriatic region. So like if you're looking at a map today, on the eastern side of that, that's going to be like, the backside of the Italian boot. But then as you go north, that's like Croatia and like Greece and like Slovenia, like all that, like that whole region, plus Crete and all of those islands in there. They were infested. And of course, like that, like, they're trading a lot with like Syria, the Levant, Egypt, Cyprus, Anatolia, Greece. All of these people have to use this area to transport, and no one can get anything done. Like, spoiler alert, these are the same people who kidnapped Julius Caesar around the same time as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fun story for a different day, but like, these people were a problem. So
to say the least.
But he took care of it real quick. So the second was the Lex Manilia. That was in 66 BCE. This gave him supreme command against Mithridates in the east. Because, again, Mithridates comes back. The Revenge of the Sith. Along with unprecedented authority over all Roman affairs in Asia. He completely reorganized the Eastern Mediterranean, creating a new provinces and client kingdoms, establishing vast wealth for Rome. So again, we're all doubling the size of Rome again, like within a year.
Oof.
Like, wild. And we haven't even figured it out from the last time we doubled Rome's size. We're still struggling with that. So this, I can only assume, is going to end well. So, Pompey returned to Rome in 62 BCE, a living legend. The most powerful man in the world, having secured immense wealth and prestige from Rome and himself, of course. Like with the way they wrote about him, the people were so crazy for this guy that they were just getting pregnant looking at him. He faced a familiar problem, though. The Senate. Oh, those senators. They were ever suspicious of the overmighty individuals, dragging its feet on ratifying his eastern settlements and giving land to his victorious veterans. What could go wrong?
Everything.
Let's make the people with the stabby things mad. That worked well the last 3 times.
Yeah, it's not ideal. For sure, that's not ideal.
No.
So while Pompey was off conquering the East, mean old crooked Crassus, landlord from hell, solidified his position as Rome's wealthiest man. He made his fortune from clever and sometimes nefarious business dealings, like buying up property during Sulla's prescriptions and supposedly running Rome's first fire brigade, which would extinguish fires only after the owner agreed to sell the burning property to Crassus at a ridiculously low price. Imagine that.
No, this doesn't sound. I don't feel like I've seen anything like this before.
No.
Crassus Tower, something like that.
Maybe. But Crassus used his immense wealth to buy political influence, lending money to politicians, including a young Julius Caesar, who is now making his first cameo appearance, hosting
Hooray!
lavish public banquets, and building a vast network of clients. He was the one who genuinely crushed the Spartacus slave revolt, crucifying 6,000 rebellious slaves along the Appian Way as a chilling message. A brutal act that showcased the darker side of Roman power. Crassus was always Pompey's rival, a master of money and political maneuvering, where Pompey excelled on the battlefield. Amidst all this military glory and political maneuvering, a brilliant novus homo orator named Marcus Tullius Cicero rose to consulship in 63 BCE. Cicero believed passionately in the Republic, envisioning a concord of the orders, where the Senate and the Equites would unite to preserve the state. His consulship was defined by his heroic, in his own telling, exposure of the Catularian conspiracy. Lucius Sergius Catilina was a disgraced nobleman, heavily in debt, who resorted
I'm frustrated. We're sorry to our non-existent Swedish listeners. We do not think that you actually talk like that.
No, it's just mouths do things. Noises get made. It's okay. But Catalina was a disgraced nobleman. He was heavily in debt, and he resorted to plotting a violent coup, aiming to burn Rome and seize power after failing to win the consulship legally. So, throwing a man-child, toddler-level fit.
I feel like this probably took place in January.
Possibly.
It feels like this is something that would happen in January.
Maybe. Cicero, through brilliant speeches in the Senate, his famous In Catilinam orations, and astute intelligence work, exposed the plot. Catiline fled. His co-conspirators in Rome were arrested and crucially executed without trial on Cicero's orders, with senatorial approval via an SCU. This controversial act, while Cicero defended it as necessary to save the Republic, echoed Sulla's methods and would later come back to haunt him. Well, whenever you come at martial law in anything, you are always going to have to face the repercussions for your actions, even if it is not at that very moment.
Right.
It will come for
you. And, you know, yeah, and take a pin in this, guys. We are going to go heavily more into this in Cicero and particularly this event later, but I want to save it for another story because it makes more sense there. But I wanted to just, like, you know, express that, like, you know, the bold strokes here, so that we got the background, but that this was going on and we're seeing the parallels, right? So,
So Cicero briefly enjoyed the title Father of the Fatherland, Pater Patriciae, for saving Rome from Catiline. But his political power rested on words and alliances, not legions. He recognized the threat of individual strong men, but his vision of a restored, lawful republic was increasingly out of step with the new reality. Imagine being the one that's like, the pen is mightier than the sword. And someone's like, prove it.
Yeah, Cicero's really complicated. Personally, I don't like him. I think he's a douche. But I will say he's not the violent man. You know, to his own detriment, as we shall see, but he's not a hero either. Like, he's a misogynist, shocking. He's all about, like, and even though he's a quote-unquote, like, new man, like, he's all about, like, the old order. He's trying to, just like Sulla was, like, really trying to, like, go back to this glorious Roman past that doesn't exist, you know? like it's just romanticized, and he's really trying to push that. But he's, like I said, we'll get into him later. Put a pin in him. So, by the late 60s BC, the stage was perfectly set. Pompey was back, loaded with military glory and treasure and slaves, but unable to get the Senate to rubber stamp his achievements, which is a bummer. Crassus was ridiculously rich. Like, rich. He was diving Scrooge McDuck style in his vault of coins. And he was politically ambitious, always itching for more power and recognition. And a new, charming, utterly ruthless force was rising through the ranks, keenly observing every lesson from Marius, Sulla, Pompey, and Crassus. You may have heard of him. Gaius Julius Caesar. The Republic was now a hollow shell. Its traditional institutions were crumbling. Power resided with generals and their armies. The political differences were settled with swords, not votes. The final, decisive act was about to begin, and it would involve a handshake between three men, leading directly to the ultimate showdown that would end the Roman Republic forever. Whew! So we know that was a lot. Many accounts of this are so dry and usually a list of dates, but there was so much drama here, girl. And it is so important we are going to understand the story going forward. If none of this happened, Julius Caesar would have just been some guy, Mark Antony would have just been some rich jock, and Cleopatra's family would keep doing, well, we'll get there. Also, if you don't see the parallels to modern times, I don't know what to tell you. History repeats itself, blah, 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 blah. But also when people say they can't relate to history or dismiss it as being useless, Exhibit A. People, they were people just like us, and we have a lot more in common with them than many of us would care to admit. We have come a long way, yes, but this story proves that no matter how far your society has come, that it can still fall prey to the same issues, and choosing to ignore them will give you the same results every time.
So on that high note, we want to thank you for taking the trip with us. Next time, we will take a little break from a narrative and explore the cultural aspects of this period. We will be getting on the ground and really get an experience of what it was like to live in all this drama. And maybe that won't feel too different from your normal, and that's okay. Maybe there is something to be said in that. Now, as you know, we are a new podcast, and we are always looking to please the dark magic that is the algorithm. So wherever you are listening to this, whether it be Spotify, Apple, iHeart, or YouTube, if you could take time to give us some positive reviews and a like, it goes a long way for us so that we can continue to go on adventures together.
We also have a Patreon now. There you can hear episodes on topics outside the purview of the main podcast, watch videos, participate in Q&As, buy merch, and in general see us get up to hijinks, all for the price of a latte per month. If you have any ideas, comments, or just want to say hi, you can reach us at timetravelersclubpodcast@gmail.com. We love it when people say hi. And as always, thanks for listening.
Bye for now.
Bye, guys.